Hey, here's another video. Last time we just replayed every note on the fretboard from the lowest to the highest, and along the way we found them in every location. So I just want to kind of expand on that a little bit. Now, first off, again, this stuff is not necessarily much fun, but it's really helpful as far as learning the fretboard. So a couple things. Last time I played a chromatic scale in the first position. That's a little over 2 octaves in first position. An octave, just in case anybody didn't know, I googled it just for fun. It's defined as the interval between two notes, and those two notes, one has twice the frequency of the others, twice as many vibrations, or half as many. If I play these two E's, you can hear that even though one's higher than the other, one's lower than the other, they have something in common, and that's the number of vibrations. This higher E is twice as many vibrations as this lower one, and vice versa. So, again, this chromatic scale, little over 2 octaves in one position. And on a 24 fret neck, you can get 2 octaves on one string. From this E to this E to that E, that's 2 octaves. As far as the range of the whole instrument, again, I'm using a 24 fret guitar as an example, it's 4 octaves. There's 1 octave, there's a 2nd octave, 3rd octave, and 4th octave. So the reason I bring up the chromatic scale and octaves is to kind of continue on with this thing of visualizing the fretboard. Scales, chords are just different ways of taking that octave and just dividing it up into different segments. So theoretically, if you know the chromatic scale, everything else is contained within that scale. It's just a question of extracting it and processing it. So I thought it might be a good idea, well, I know it's a good idea, to take that little over 2 octave scale and divide it up into 1 octave fragments. So just to real quick, I'm going to go through that scale. There you can get the E in 2 octaves, 3 octaves I should say. The F in 3 octaves, F sharp in 3 octaves, G in 3 octaves, G sharp in 3 octaves. Then A, this next series will be 1 octave. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. So you might want to try playing through this chromatic scale in the first position in octaves. It's a bit of a finger twister. If you really want to challenge yourself, try doing them where you're playing both notes of the octave at the same time. I'll put my pick down for this one. So again, chromatic scale, a little over 2 octaves. And now after you've done that, you might try going back to where you're playing every note in the scale, so on. But instead of playing the entire thing, break it into 2 octave chunks. I'm sorry, 1 octave chunks. So I'll go from this E up to the octave. Okay. And then I'll go start at the next note, F, and go up to the octave F. F sharp. G. G sharp. And now I'm up to the A string, and so on. Because of the way the guitar is tuned, you've got this different interval between the G and the B strings. The fingering is going to change whenever you're dealing with the second and third string because of the tuning. So just watch out for that. Stay in first position. Play open strings. Wherever a note's available on an open string, play it there. The reason I bring that up is, again, because of the tuning between the second and third strings, you can get this B note in 2 different places. That's a real stumbling block in learning the fretboard. It's, I think, one of the main reasons guys find the fretboard confusing is until you get to that pair of strings, every other pair of strings is a fourth between the 2 notes. So, 6th and 5th string, that interval is a fourth. 5th and 4th string, that interval is a fourth. 4th and 3rd string, that interval is a fourth. And the 2nd and 1st string, that interval is a fourth. If I look at this pair, the 3rd and 2nd string, that interval is not a fourth, it's a third. It's a major third. So again, that's kind of a speed bump. So bear that in mind. So again, just take that and break it down. Play each octave chromatically. Sorry, see, that's the very thing I was talking about. I played the B there. I would recommend playing it on the open string instead. I just did that with hammers and pulls because I can play quicker that way. Now, you might also try, once you've broken that down into 1 octave chunks, do it in position and then do it along the strings, like we talked about before. I would start off just doing it off of the open string. Play a chromatic scale off one of the open strings, 1 octave, and then play it across the fretboard on that same string. You do E. Now I'll play that same thing, but I'll play it all on the 6th string. G string. On the B string, well, on the B string, from there up, you're not going to be able to get a full octave. So I don't know that I would bother to get into that right now. So 6th string, 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, play it 1 octave chromatic scale in position, and then play it on 1 string across. You might try tying this in with what we did on the last lesson as far as plotting them out as you go. Well, let me try that again. Just up to that octave, then work your way back down. And on the 5th string. I'll come back down. On the D string. Come back down. On the G string. And then again on the B, from the B string up, you're not going to be able to get up to an octave in first position. So at least just do it on those bottom 4 strings. All right, I think that is probably enough to keep you busy for a while. As you can see, when I was playing through that, I was making quite a few mistakes. And it's because I was trying to play through it too quick, which is another important thing. You know, don't rush through when you learn to play anything. The tendency is to, try to get it as quickly as possible. You're better off taking it slow enough where you can play it without any mistakes and then working up your speed from there. So don't, do as I say, not as I do. So I hope this helps. And again, this is not about music per se. It's about learning the fretboard. But learning the fretboard is a means to the end of playing music. So, all right, that's it. I hope you enjoy this if you watch it. And thanks to everybody that watched the last one. And I'll do this again when I get a chance. All right, bye-bye.